Like my class. I'm Kate.
Hi, I'm Val.
And we are Guidebook Not Included.
And today we're going to talk about travel. So basically, our first ever episode of Guidebook Not Included was
That's why she doesn't say the title.
Yeah, exactly. This is I just can't. I've practiced.
You overthink it.
But I think okay, let me try to say it. Okay, no. It just doesn't come out naturally. I need to practice more.
We're going to make that be a rule every time, just so we can all like applaud you as you get better and better at it every time.
Yeah, we're going to listen
and we'll just watch
episode 100 and I'm going to be like, flawless.
She said it.
But our first ever episode was a live on Instagram, on your Instagram page, I think.
Which is why we don't have the video for this now, because I didn't know how to save it.
Yeah. I think I know I shared it. It's on your IGT.
It is on my, yes. And I don't know if there's a way to.
We couldn't figure it out. Anyway.
If anyone wants to watch it, go check it out at adventureswithoutaroadmap.com. But we're going to talk about it now, so you don't need to go watch it there because we're going to.
Yeah, we're just.
But that was when we knew it was fate. Literally afterwards, I think you had said something about wanting to do a podcast. No, did you say something about wanting to do a podcast? Or like, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. We just love talking, and I think we like hearing ourselves talk. And I think we just like. I like owning the space, like where it's just like we get to talk. Like I feel so out of control in my other life where I'm like, this is where we just get to like, this is us.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, on that live recording, we talked about our favorite road trips, I think. And
our most memorable favorite, yeah. And haunted.
We had a ghost story. I still think about that share to this day. Like, I think about it at least once a day, and it creeps me out. So, do you want to go first with your road trip story with that ghost story, and I'll do mine after?
Yeah. Or unless you want to do it, and I can find the video really quick, because then I can screen share it and show people what well, I guess it has a minor in one of it. I can show the picture of the chair.
Yeah.
The very Whoa. Let's see, what all did I... Let me start with the haunted one. Is that the main story I told? Okay, so my dad and James and I went on a road trip with my dad and his wife and her, I'm going to butcher her age. She's going into 6th grade, I think, maybe 7th grade. I'm not sure. It was the 5 of us. 5 of us in one like in like this little SUV, in a little small SUV. And so not a small SUV, it was like it's a Tiguan or something, Volkswagen. Anyways, I digress. Its name is Tigger though, going back to your tattoo, and it has a giant Tigger in the front. He has a giant Tigger decal on the front of his.
Really? Okay, I'm jealous. Right? I want that car.
No, Tigger's on the back.
Okay.
Where the wild things are is on the hood.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, Tigger's on the back, and where the wild things are is on the front. And so we did this road trip from Florida all the way up to Maine eventually together, like this epic like 2-week road trip. And the whole plan was for us to camp. We were going to camp at all these different spots. We were going to use hotel rooms, and we were going to camp here and camp here. We never camped, like ever. I don't even know. I don't think we ever spent the night in the car with all 5 of us.
How can you sleep 5 in a car? Like
I don't think we did.
3 maybe.
Yeah, I don't think we did the 5 in the car sleeping thing. But anyway, so it was this adventure of like, you know, we had our stuff on the rack, and I overpacked like crazy. I already promised them if we go on a trip again, I promise I will pack way lighter, because I think I had like 2 bags and I touched like 5 outfits, which is the same thing I do on every trip. And I pack all this stuff, and I'm like, I need all this, and I literally like wear nothing. I mean, I don't wear nothing. I like literally wear like I literally wear like
you just
5 of the outfits. I have to have all the outfits. I have to have everything. like, I don't touch half the clothes. I'm like looking at my closet right now and I don't touch half the shit that's in that thing. But I can't get rid of it. Anyway, so and we had like a trailer hitch on the back and this thing was weighed down by like another bag on the trailer hitch. Later, we found out my dad had the trailer hitch thing like upside down and it would have given us an extra like 2 inches. It still worked the way it was, but like every time we hit like a speed bump, a low like curb, a bump, like going up into a driveway, it would just go shh, and it would just scrape. And it was so, now I hear, anytime I hear a scrape, I'm just like traumatized. Or I see someone else with their little trailer and I just hear the sound in my head. Anyway, so we drove and we stopped in DC and we stopped at this hotel that my dad and I stayed in as a kid. And so I had 3 brothers. And so when we would go on vacations, we would either all like cram in. We always had one hotel room with 6 of us. I don't know if that was technically legal, but we always had 6 of us in a hotel room. I got the floor or the closet or the corner, or between the 2 beds and hoping no one would step on me when they get out of bed. But yeah, so we got this hotel room that we had when we were kids, and it's a block away from the Capitol. Like you can walk out in the street and you can see the Capitol. And I know I found the name of it one time and I'll have to find the name of it again. It's Old Hotel. And if you Google it, it brings up like ghosts and like one of the first things in the search bar is this one haunted? So it's kind of run down now. It's not the fanciest, but it was cheap-ish. It was really cheap when we were kids. It was cheapish. And when we got this hotel room, we walk in and my dad went to park the car and the rest of us went into the room and there was two like full-size beds or queen beds or something. Two main beds on the side of the wall. And then you walk in, so there's the 2 beds, there's like a chair recliner, like a sofa chair, but it reclines out. And so you could like pull it out as like a love seat. So kind of like how you pull out the sleeper couch, but it was a sleeper chair. And so there's a sleeper chair. And then there were 3 more like twin beds. So there's 5 beds in this hotel room. It's the biggest freaking hotel room ever. Right? It's massive. Yeah. So there's like bed, and then bathroom. And then there's these 2 pictures up above the beds and they're matching of like a little girl in this like field. And it was really creepy. Like there's just like,
did you burn it with salt?
Right. I need to start bringing some salt with me everywhere. Yep. And so there were these 2 paintings and then sure. So the first thing we do, you get in a hotel room and there's 5 beds and a chair. The first thing you have to do is play The Floor is Lava.
Of course.
Like there is no other option of what you do when you get in a room with 5 beds. Like you have to play The Floor is Lava. And so that was like our whole, yeah. So we get in there and we're like, instantly we're just like, all of us being adult children as the adult with ADHD is parking the car. And so he was like the most adult in that situation. But like, I got pretty lucky to have a stepmom that's willing to like play The Floor is Lava with us. Like she was pretty cool about that. Yeah. And so she was like just as involved in the game as us, and her 10-year-old daughter who never talked, but she got involved in that game. Broke the ice a little bit there. So we're in there and you would jump from bed to bed and then we opened the sofa chair and then we would jump all the way around the beds and then we put pillows on the floor that would lead into the bathroom. And so in order to make it full circuit, you have to go flush the toilet and then jump back around. So it was like, right. I'm sure people around us were like, why is that toilet freaking flushing every like 5 minutes? We're just like wasting water like none other. And so we'd run and we just played The Floor is Lava. So it was super fun. My dad walks in, he's like, what's going on? We're like, get out the floor, it's lava. And he's like, what? He just wanted to go eat. He was like, done. And I was like, you're supposed to play. I think he played like 1 round with us and he was like, party pooper. Anyway, so the chair though, when we would play on the chair, like if you would jump, it was kind of like a rollaway bed where if you would jump on it, it would like start to sink in and you would almost like end up like the bed would flip up and you'd be like down at the recliner at this part of the chair and you would sink down. And so it would like collapse in on you basically every time you would step on it. Sure, the managers would hate us, but probably. So we'd like jump. There's 5 adults like jumping on this thing. And so we would like jump And so every time you would like grab the back of the chair and like try and balance it so you wouldn't like fall over. So we were like handling this chair like crazy, and we're running around playing floors lava. And then my dad ruins the game and makes us all go out to eat. So we go eat and we go see the White House and the Capitol and all that stuff, and do all the sightseeing stuff at night, which is cool. It was all lit up. Watch Trump go to sleep and turn his lights off. Yay. Go Twitter, go tweet some. And so anyways, we get back to the room and we walk in the hotel room, and my dad's like, oh, you wrote hi on the chair. And I was like, what? And he was like, it says hi on the chair over there. And we're like, what are you talking about? And the chair said hi, like in white. And it was a little bit like, it wasn't super bright. It wasn't like it was like fresh powder just put on there. And like, maybe there's a chance that someone, like some kid that was staying there, wrote hi at one point with dust or something. I don't know what they wrote it in there with. But we touched that chair 20 million times in the floor is lava. Like we were all over that chair and we never saw anything. And we walk in, and in 2 seconds, my dad's like, oh, look, the chair says hi. And I'm like, you know what? We were playing a very, like, luckily it said like hi and not like die. Like at least it didn't say like, it didn't say like die or get out or like anything like that. And so, but we had been playing this very childlike game. And so I think it was just the whole mix of it where it was like, we were playing this very happy, cheerful kid game. And then it was like, I don't know, some kid spirit probably said hi to us because they were playing the game with us. I don't know. And so that night it was so hard to sleep because for one, I was like terrified of bugs, and I was like so scared about how clean this room was. And I was like sleeping on top of the covers, trying not to touch anything as if that would make it so bugs wouldn't come out. And I was just like sleeping all like, I did not sleep very good that night. I was so anxious. And then like at one point we had left the bathroom light on, and I didn't know it, but my stepsister had gotten up to go turn the light off because she turned the light on because she didn't like it being dark. And I didn't know she turned it on. So I'm like freaking out because I'm like laying there and the light is on now. So I laid awake for like 30 minutes just like waiting for something to happen because the light was on. I didn't know she turned it on. And then at one point though, there was like a crash sound, like a lamp falling. And no one else heard it except for me and her. And no one else had been on my bed. And I was like, what was that crash sound? And then in the morning, she was like, I heard the crash sound too. Like, I don't know what it was. So her and I both heard this like lamp crash sound that no one else heard. And I just literally like laid awake, and I don't know how much I slept that night. I was terrified. But
I bet. I would be terrified. I will probably have nightmares again about this chair. Just because you showed me the picture.
I have to find the pictures though. It was so epic. Like it was just the coolest, like it was scary.
You'll have to post it on our Instagram now that it's up and running.
I will post, because then I can make it like I should be able to post the one thing as a reel too.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes.
I had the picture of it. I'm gonna find the picture though.
Yeah,
so I can
think worst case scenario, it's
didn't I send it to you in our messages?
Yeah.
I did show it to you in messages. I'm gonna have to find it and show everyone. Or I'll let you find it later because you have the screen sharing abilities, and so I'll let you open it later. But yeah, that was my. Are you gonna go up here now? Yeah. That was my travel ghost story, and so I don't remember what other stories I told, but let's hear your Kansas one. I want to hear your.
Well, before I talk about my Kansas one, I have a funny story. I have been to the Capitol one time, and it's last November. After not seeing Sean for 9 months, I decided, like, fuck it, I'm gonna go to the States in a pandemic, and I'm gonna quarantine myself for 2 weeks after, so I didn't see my kids for 2 weeks. But anyway, because there are not many flights right now going anywhere in the world, I had like 2 layovers. So usually I will leave from Montreal, I will have a layover in, it's usually Chicago, Atlanta, or Minneapolis, I think.
How do you go all the way down to Atlanta? Is that when you're trying to go to Oklahoma?
Yep.
And they send you all the way down to
No,
Atlanta?
yeah, even when I went to Kansas or the Kansas City airport, it happened many times that I stopped by.
Airlines don't make sense to me. Like, go from Canada to Atlanta and then back up to.
Yeah, and sometimes I would check from, like, leaving from Toronto, but it's still a 7-hour drive for me going to Toronto. But anyway, so there are not many flights leaving here, so I had to like have 2 layovers going and coming back. And one of my layovers was in, I have a blank, in the
DC?
Washington D.C. airport, however it's called. I have a complete blank right now on how it's
I don't know
called.
what it's called.
But when we were starting to land, okay, you're gonna think I'm an idiot because Sean thought I was an idiot. But I was like, where's the mountain with the faces? Because it's the capital. Where would the mountain be? Why would it not be in the capital? So I was looking all over, and when I landed, I messaged Sean, oh, I'm so disappointed I didn't get to see the mountain with the faces. He says, are you talking about Mount Rushmore? And I'm like, yeah, where is it? He's like, it's in South Dakota. Oh, this is why I didn't see it. So this is why I'm amazing with geography. I had no, but for real, let's talk logically. Why would the mountain with the forefather faces would not be in the capital?
And that would make a lot more sense because it's like super controversial, right? Like Mount Rushmore.
No, I didn't.
Like it's like, because it's I haven't done like research on it in a long time, but I went and I volunteered on the reservation in South Dakota, and we went to go to, it's in the Black Hills of South Dakota, and this is like sacred, like spiritual land, and like these rocks in this land is like spiritual. And then they carved the faces of people that enslaved and treated the Native Americans like crap on their Black Hills. And then it's like, so there's like this, there's a little bit of like tension behind it of kind of like how ethical was this that they like put these faces on this rock and like
the sacred mountain. Oh my
yeah, because I mean it was their sacred lands in the Black Hills and stuff for like the Native Americans there. And so like, yeah, it's kind of like we went there as a kid, and I don't know that we've ever really gone back since then. I mean, it's impressive to see and stuff, but then because then there's more with like, there's Crazy Horse Monument is being built, which is another like structure that's going to be near there that's to honor the Native Americans, but it's apparently taking a really long time and still isn't finished. Whereas like, there's just their priorities are kind of whacked out. But yeah, it was interesting. I was like, you know what? It would be better for that to be in DC, because let's make a giant marble statue with the faces and not these men. Because there's been pictures of people with like, people have done like little superimpositions of like Indian chiefs on the rock wall instead. And they're like, this is what, like it should be more, the real founding fathers.
Yeah.
And they're like, these are like the real founding fathers of our country and stuff. But yeah, there's all this like controversy with it. I'll have to do some more research on it. I haven't really delved into it since I was like in high school or college, and I went on the reservation for the trip. But yeah, it's just an interesting piece of, I guess that wouldn't really be something that a Canadian would think about. Like that you would really
we have
like
the same problem here. Well, not
but I
with
mean, like with the Mount Rushmore
obviously.
and stuff. Yeah, it's just kind of like a slap in the face, I guess, where it's just like,
oh yeah,
here's your rock. We're gonna carve our face. Yeah, we're gonna carve our faces into it. And so I'm sure there might be some inaccuracies in this. So if anyone's offended, please just let us know.
Yes.
This is me speaking from my limited experience of what I know. But again, we're not filtered and we're open to corrections.
Yeah, we'll have corrections corner all the time. Hopefully people won't scream at me for my brain farts about English words.
I just love that you thought it was gonna, like, that you're looking out the window for this
like with
Mountain.
my big puppy eyes, like, oh my God, I'm gonna see a mountain. And Sean was like, don't call it the mountain with the faces. But now I have a blank. It's George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Lincoln, and who's the fourth one?
Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln.
Not important. They shouldn't be
Yeah.
there. Now we know that.
I don't even remember. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look them up.
Google it. But yeah, my story.
We need. What's the one dude's name that looks everything up? Steven? Yeah, we need it. We need our own.
We need a Steven.
Okay, when Sean gets there, Sean can be our Steven.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
We'll make Sean. Sean, go Google this.
He told me, girl, I'm gonna get you a better camera. If you're gonna do that, you're gonna do that correctly. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's the best. But yeah, my story about Kansas. So 2 years ago, 2 years ago.
Why don't you say A? Is that not an everyone Canadian thing? Sorry. When you said yeah, that made me think of the whole A thing. Where's the A thing come from?
I say it sometimes, but it's more because I'm French Canadian, so I'm learning English Canadian from work because I'm so sorry. I work with people from Ontario, and at my previous job, I used to work with people in Alberta. And I remember the first time that I heard about, the weird way they say about, I thought he said a boat. So the guy was doing like a presentation. I'm not sure if he was a CEO or CFO or whatever. I can't remember who this guy was, but he was talking and I was trying to listen. And yeah, he said a boat, and I lost it because I thought he was talking about an actual boat in the middle of a sentence, and I missed everything because I was like, how is he talking about a boat? And then I realized, oh shit, he has an accent. But yeah, I say A sometimes. Yeah, I do say it because Sean makes fun of me for saying it.
You do say, I guess I just haven't, because you don't say like big, and that's, where's big? Big is.
Oh no, North Dakota or Minnesota.
Yeah, and a boat is from. And a boat is from Minnesota too. I had a friend that would say a boat.
Really?
And he lived in Minnesota and would say a boat, about. And then my friend from Virginia would say, instead of forehead, it's a farhead.
A farhead. Okay.
Farhead instead of forehead. And then the first day I was talking to him on college campus, I was like, in person, he was talking about some brick building that was going up. And he kept saying something about like the brick over there. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, the brick building. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, what brick building? And he was like, the brick building over there. I was like, what the frick is brick? And then we found out he meant brick, but he says brick. Like, and so then I made a whole like a E. And I made him say a whole sentence, and I developed a sentence for him, and it was like something like my forehead and farhead brick. God, there were a couple other words that he would say. I can't remember now, but yeah, they're all really screwed. I didn't let him that one down, but brick. Yeah. I just started calling him Brick for a while after that. I would just call him Brick.
You are now Brick.
Anyways, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
that was
okay.
my A. Because you said yeah, and I was like, I thought Canadians are supposed to end with A and not yeah.
A is more like at the end of a sentence, I think. A. Like that.
Okay.
But
gotcha.
Yeah.
This is me pulling out all my Canadian stereotypes
now.
This is me just like nailing all my Canadian stereotypes right here.
So
I want to be as politically incorrect as possible. Not
good. Really. Anyway, come to Canada. We have Canada Goose, Moose. I learned. Okay, sidetrack. We're
Moose?
Never gonna end this episode. Moose does not have a plural form. It's not meese.
I was just joking. I was like, the moosin or the meese.
And
yeah,
what's the other? Oh, sheep. You do not pluralize sheep. What in the world? Why?
Moosin. Yeah. Listen, have you heard of Brian Regan, the comedian?
I don't think I know this.
Okay, I'm gonna play that clip for you too, and I'm gonna make you watch it because it's freaking hilarious, especially with English. English, I mean, it's technically your second language, right?
Yeah.
But like, okay, after this, we're watching Miss Munger's class, and we're gonna watch Brian
Okay,
Regan
good.
this episode because it's called like Stupid at School or something, and he talks about like box and boxes, but then we have box in, and then you have foxes, but it's not like, you know, there's all the endings that English does with our plurals and like
I'm gonna be
niece and
so confused. It's
miss.
gonna be awesome.
We're gonna watch this video and it's gonna be freaking hilarious. Okay, I'm excited.
Okay, Kansas. So I live in the Montreal area, which is kind of okay. Do you know where Burlington, Vermont is?
No, but I think it's really pretty. Is that where
It's really pretty.
Is that where Bernie's from? He's from Vermont. I don't know.
Canadian.
He's from Vermont.
But anyway, Burlington is like 45 minutes from here. So we decided, I was with my ex back then, and we decided for our summer vacations to have a road trip and drive to Lawrence, Kansas to see our American friends. And with 2 kids. Liam it was 2 years ago, so he must have been 3 years old, and Mary must have been 5 years old. Yeah, she started kindergarten after the summer. So oh my god, I absolutely do not remember the story I told in the live video, so I'm just gonna wing it.
Is that when you lost Liam at Walmart?
At the Walmart, yeah. I didn't lose him. We're gonna get there. First, such a long road trip with young children might not be the best idea in the world, because they don't necessarily sleep in the car, and you have to keep them entertained. To be honest, I was really well prepared. They had their tablets. We downloaded every single episode of every single show that they liked. We bought like something to hang behind the passenger and the driver's seat, so they can put their tablet, it goes around them, they can draw, they have all these pockets to put like snacks, they have a hole for the water bottle, they can, I don't know, draw, play with Legos, whatever. We had so many toys. Like, I went to the dollar store and I just bought tons of $1 toys. But still, you have to stop like every 2 hours, basically, even maybe every hour, because they need to pee. And it's a 25 hours trip, no stops. But since we were on vacation, we decided we're gonna, take it slow. If it takes us 3 days to get there, so be it. So first we did a pilgrimage to the very first Tim Horton. So it was really important for me to see the very first Tim Horton. It's in Hamilton, Ontario. And I mean, it's smaller than you expect. Like,
what is it?
You don't know what a Tim Horton is? It's our Dunkin' Donut.
Oh yeah. You know what? We had, this is deja vu because I literally had the same. Okay. Your Dunkin' Donuts. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea what it was last time either. And I totally forgot. And I was like, wait, I think it has something to do with coffee or donuts or something. Okay.
The coffee is better at Dunkin' Donuts, like by far, but our donuts are better. Fight me. I will fight you. So anyway, to go to Hamilton from here, it was about, like, keep in mind that we had to stop many times to, pee breaks with the kids, gas, food, whatever. It took us about 11 hours to get there. So driving straight to Toronto is 7 hours. So, and it's about an hour maybe from Toronto. So, also, never pronounce the T, the second T in Toronto. They don't like it.
Toronto?
Yeah, it's Toronto. I'm not sure why. You shouldn't pronounce it. So anyway, for the night I had booked a very shady motel. Well, I wanted a cheap room. So I booked a very shady motel in Sarnia, which is right by the border of Detroit. So I figured we're gonna stop there for the night, and we'll just have to cross the border in the morning. So we get there. We got there at like 11 at night. So we were both exhausted. At least the kids were sleeping. That was at least that. So we get to the room, and it's a 1-star motel. I paid like $80 for the night, which I don't think Canadian. So probably like $60 American. Um, and we had 2 beds, and I was like, I hope there are no bed bugs because the room is gross. And I went to take a shower, and there was a dead bug, like a big. I'm not sure if it was a cockroach. I honestly don't know what it was. It was not moving. That's the important part. And the trash cans hadn't been changed. But again, 1-star motel. I knew what I
They
was.
hadn't changed the trash.
Nope. So, and there was a lot of back and forth in the parking lot in front of the motel. So I was actually scared we were not gonna make it through the night because we were gonna get, you know, attacked or something. But everything went well. We left in the morning. We stopped at a place to grab breakfast, and then we went to the border. And so we crossed the border. When you leave Canada to go to the US, you cross the American border. So you talk with US custom agents. And he asked us where were we going. So I said we're going to visit friends in Kansas. And oh my god, to this day I still make fun of that accent. It was adorable. Kansas. What the hell are you gonna do in Kansas? And I was like, oh my god, can I adopt you? You're adorable. Talk to me like that all the time, please. So yeah, we oh, before we left, so my kids went to an English daycare. The lady's from Texas. She immigrated to Quebec, I don't know, 30 years ago, because she's
She
married.
was smart.
Maybe not 30 years ago, because she's 10 years older than I am, so maybe 20 years ago, whatever. She's married to a Quebecer. And she told me, no matter what happens, do not stop in Michigan. You do not stop. You keep your doors locked and you don't stop. So I gasped before I crossed the borders, and we didn't stop in Michigan. I don't know what. I'm still scared to this day. Like, what the fuck is wrong with Michigan? She was like, you don't stop. Like, you don't stop for anything, for anyone. You do not stop. But we had to drive for like maybe 4 hours to cross it. And my kids had to use the bathroom. So I was like, oh, just a few miles more, like just a few extra miles, so we'll get into what's the next state? I think it was Indiana. Yeah. Yeah. So when we were in Indiana, we stopped for, lunch and very much needed pee break, and have Liam walk around because he's a baby and he needs to spend some energy. So I really think Indiana is pretty. Like, I hope to go back someday because I think it's really cute. And then we had to cross Illinois in diagonal. And honestly, I'm so sorry for people who are from Illinois. That's the most boring place I've ever driven through. It's just fields and fields and never ending fields. And at some point, there are no pit stops at all. So I think it was more in southern Illinois. My kids had to stop to go to use the bathroom. And I was like, okay, we'll find the pit stop. And now we had been driving for 2 hours after I said, okay, we're going to find one. And I still hadn't found a pit stop. So I left at an exit thinking we're going to find something. And like maybe 10 miles later, we found a park with a public bathroom. So this is where it happened. And, the kids could play in a park a little. And there were like nobody was there. So we figured like we won't bother anyone if we stop here. And then yeah, we find like even when we drove back home, I was like, oh no, we're crossing Illinois again. Like, it's just never ending fields. And okay, it's cool, they have wind turbines, like a lot, and this is really cool, but Yeah, driving through Illinois, it's like, okay, we really have to pee before. Like the first pit stop, we find we have to stop to use the bathroom because we're gonna die or we're gonna explode. That's what's gonna happen. We're just gonna.
I thought you were gonna say you went in the ditch, and you just like that's what my parents made us do.
Yeah, but we're not
Yes.
American. We're
We just had
scared
to
of
go.
being arrested.
My parents would just make us go pee in
Yeah,
the
because my
ditch.
parents made us do that when I was a kid, but in Canada. Because, I have my license plate of Quebec. So we really didn't want to stop for anything like on the side of the road. And then we got to Missouri, and oh my god, Missouri is so beautiful. Like it's such a change from driving through fields and never ending cornfields.
Isn't
And
Missouri fields too?
not where I can't remember.
You must have
the
gone through a
location.
prettier area.
Yeah. And we stopped at oh my god, Hardee's. Yeah. We stopped at a Hardee's because we had to gas the car and it was lunchtime. So we figured we stopped there, and we go to, the counter to order. And while I was waiting for my order, like it was like maybe a 16 or 17 years old. He asks me the most polite way, may I please, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was like, may I please bother you by asking you where's your accent from? And I was like, oh my god, you're so polite. Look at you, you're so adorable. So I told him we're from Montreal, and he's like, you drove here? Why would you be driving? He said, like, I don't even want to drive for a half an hour to go visit my family, and you've been driving for 2 days. But so I remembered this place, like I thought it was adorable. And he said, oh, I thought your accent was from Wisconsin. And I was like, I don't even know where is Wisconsin. I don't know. But apparently my accent sounds from there. So after Missouri, side note,
Missouri.
Missouri.
You're saying this.
Okay. Look, I spoke French all day. Give me a break.
Because it's just funny because the first time you thought, I thought you said you drove through misery. Like, when you're misery. Like,
That's what I meant.
Like Missouri.
How
Missouri.
am I supposed to say it?
Like with or almost
state.
in there.
Missouri.
Missouri, but it's like more Missouri, but yours Missouri, like when
I really don't see the difference.
Well, like misery, because misery is like if you're in,
like if you're in pain.
Yeah.
Well, when you're miserable.
Yeah. Is
that's not what I meant. Definitely not what I meant. I meant this thing.
So then I thought you said you drove through misery, and I was like, all right, that's a good analogy for Missouri.
We walked through hell. We drove through hell straight up.
Misery.
Anyway.
This is one of the things I love is just that I love the differences in the language and stuff and the accents and stuff. It's so much fun. And I feel like I can give you some shit and you won't kill me.
Of course not.
Hopefully you don't make fun of me too. Or
don't get me started on Kansas versus Arkansas. It pisses me off. It's Kansas with R in front of it. Why is it pronounced differently?
Well, then you have Arkansas, right? Mm-hmm. The state Arkansas. But then the river is the Arkansas River.
You gotta be kidding me.
And that's how some people, people can't, the state is Arkansas, the river is the Arkansas River. Is how I've always heard it and known it.
Why? Just so make it easier for other people who don't speak English. Just keep it all the same pronunciation. Thank you.
Well, I just named some random town. James's aunt texted me and they were like, we're going to Leota. Okay, well, there's a town called Leota in Kansas. And I said it wrong. And James was like, no, it's Leota, Kate. And I was like, what? It's spelled Leoti. Why is that not Leoti? Why is that Leota? Where do you get ta from Leoti? Leoti. That should be T at the end. Mm-hmm. Leoti, not Leota. Where do you get Leota? I was like, what do you mean I was like, wait, because I'd always heard Leota. And so when she spelled it Leot, I was like, is this a different area around here? And James is like, started laughing at me. It's like, it's Leota. I was like, but it said I on the end. I was like, did she spell it wrong? And he's like, no, they just pronounce it with the instead of an I.
Interesting.
Yay for
complicated pronunciations. I'm sorry if we offended anyone.
Anyways, continue about your trip to Misery.
Yeah, this place. There's a lot of big churches on the side of the highways. Like,
you're in the Bible Belt.
Oh, that makes sense. Is everything up from there, like the states up from the state that I apparently cannot pronounce? Is it still in the Bible? Like, is Illinois in the Bible Belt? Because I don't think I've noticed.
I think it's more like the Missouri and Oklahoma and Kansas, and I don't even know that it's a belt because I think it stops when it gets to Colorado. I'm not really sure. Like it's like I'm gonna Google the Bible Belt states, but
yeah,
this is why we need Sean.
Yeah,
he's just gonna be our Googler the whole time.
I definitely need Sean. Like, come here now. We'll make it happen.
Go Google that. Okay, so after you drove through Misery, you saw lots of churches.
Yeah, a lot of churches. And as someone from Canada, like in Quebec, we're very not religious. There was a revolution in the 60s or 70s. I don't know. I think it's the 60s. It could be the 50s. Whatever. There was a revolution and people like kind of stopped going to the church. And especially with my generation, like anyway, churches are not a big thing here. So when I was there, I was like, oh my God, like in the past 5 minutes, I've seen 7 churches. Like, what the hell? So it was an interesting cultural shock, clash, whatever. And don't get me started on the pro-life thing and the anti-abortion. Because I saw
Did you see protests?
Of course.
Oh, there's so many signs.
Yep.
There's definitely a lot of signs.
Like, not your uterus, not your choice. Anyway, and then we got to Kansas, and I mean, Lawrence is northeast. I think it's not that far from the airport because that's where Sean would pick me up. And I love Kansas so much. I don't understand why I wasn't born there. I was born at the wrong place. I hate snow. I
love how much you love it when so many people in Kansas want to leave and want to get out of Kansas.
Sean doesn't get it at all. And he's been there his whole life.
Lawrence is cool. And Lawrence is where James, it's another random small connection we have, is the fact that like James went to college in Lawrence. And so we have friends up there. And so one of these days, our friends and us are all going to get together in Lawrence. We'll stay at our friend's house in Lawrence and you guys stay at your friends and we'll all go hang out.
Oh, they hate us now. But
that's
a whole other story. But we can rent a hotel. I'll be happy. Like there's the place where we stayed. Oh my God, the big hotel in downtown Lawrence. I can't remember the name right now.
We need to go when you're probably not a KU fan though, right? You don't like the basketball team, the KU?
I mean, I can't.
They do a free when COVID's not around, they do the big scrimmage to start off the season when they can start officially practicing. And so it's called Late Night at the Fog, and it's at the stadium and at the KU. It's in Lawrence at KU, and so it's free for everyone. And you go and you get to watch the scrimmage, and they have different like skits and stuff, and then they have a singer. I can't remember who the first singer we saw was, but last year when we went before COVID, it was Snoop Dogg. And so we got to see Snoop Dogg perform, and it's free. And so anyone can get in. So we saw a free Snoop Dogg performance. It was only like 30 minutes, but it was still free. And we still got to see Snoop Dogg. And that was hilarious. That's totally a digression, but they did it at the end of the game because they wanted it to be a family friendly. They want everyone to be able to go to the scrimmage and not do it at the middle of the game like they usually do, like a halftime show. This time they saved it till the end so people could leave if they wanted to and not miss anything because it was Snoop Dogg and they were like, it's not necessarily a kid-friendly show. but they claimed that they were getting the kid-friendly version. They asked for the PG version. And Snoop Dogg was like, there's interviews. If you Google, just research Snoop Dogg late night at the Fog, like KU. And there's all these interviews where he was like, they asked for the Snoop and they're going to get the Snoop. He's like, I don't do no PG version. He's like, I don't know what that shit's all about. He was like, he's like, you know,
you can't ask Snoop Dogg to do PG stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like literally, I was like, they're like, well, we didn't know what was happening until like he was already in the middle of singing when we realized like what was going on. I'm like, 10 minutes before his performance, they were dragging strip poles out there and the girls were climbing up on the poles to like wipe them off with the towels. Like, what do you mean you didn't know until the singing started? Like, James came back from the bathroom and I was like, look, James, they're stripper poles. And I mean, like, they were actually, I mean, they were in like booty shorts and t-shirt, half length t-shirts. I mean, they weren't in stripper clothes. I mean, there was some like dancing on the ground and stuff. There was definitely some dancing going on, but like, there was a lot of stuff going on with the dancing and the dog with the fire hydrant and all sorts of stuff. But they also shot fake money out of a money gun. This is total digression. They shot fake money with Snoop Dogg's face on it, but they shot it at the they went and shot the money gun on all the boys team and like on the recruits, because KU is under scrutiny right now for like secretly paying their athletes.
Oh.
And like, which is illegal to like pay student athletes. And so he like deliberately shot his money gun over at the players, and including some of the recruits that are like really in question. Not sure if that was like intentional or if that's what he was meaning by it, or if he was just using his stripper gun, you know, the one that he like shoots money at the strippers. But it was funny. I'll show you those articles too. Anyways, I digress. But that's my KU story. But one of these days, we all have to go to late night at the Fog Deal. We'll go hang out in Lawrence. And that's usually around Halloween though, so I don't know how easy that is to get to Lawrence during Halloween time.
I don't see why it wouldn't be easy.
Besides pulling the kids out of school or something.
Yeah,
I guess,
or if it depends. If we're gonna hang out, I don't think I'm gonna bring the kids because I would like to drink and have fun and not be like, Liam, stop running. I forgot to tell the Liam story.
Yes, continue. Sorry, we are like, I'm a squirrel. This is bad.
We are both squirrels. Okay, when we were in Illinois, I forgot that part. So we had been driving for a day. Yeah, for a day, and we were already tired of eating like McDonald's for breakfast, McDonald's for lunch, McDonald's for dinner. So we decided we're gonna stop at Walmart. We're gonna buy groceries. So while I was paying, so for the whole time the kids were in the cart, so I could always have a visual on them. Because we're in another country, I would like to not have my kids kidnapped because it's going to be even more complicated than in my own country. Anyway, so, and I'm a mother hen and I'm okay with that. So while I was paying, my ex was getting Mary out of the cart, took Liam out of the cart, and for half a second, like he was talking to Mary or I don't know, Liam ran away. And all I could see while I was paying was a little thing running away. And I looked and I was like, Liam's not around me. Holy shit, it's my son who just ran away of a Walmart at 3 years old. And so if I ran at him, he would have run faster to leave. So I was walking kind of like a steady pace, but not running. And people were giving me the side eye, like, what the fuck, this lady can't even, check her kid. And so Joe was bringing the groceries while I was like, I'm going to take care of Liam. And he got outside the Walmart. And he managed to not get hit by a car. And people were honking like, grab your kid. Like, of course I want to brag my fucking kid. I'm in another country. I'm going to sit his fucking ass in the car seat so fucking bad. But so it was like a kind of busy morning because I had trouble to find a parking spot close to the store. So yes, it was a weekday morning, but there was still a lot of people. So it's a miracle he didn't die from getting hit by a fucking car because he ran away from a Walmart in Illinois. And when I finally grabbed him, I was screaming at him like, "Never get away from me again!" I was screaming in English because I was scared that people are gonna think that French people are angry. So I just got angry in English instead. And yeah, I sat him in his car seat and I was like, "You never do that to me ever again. Is that clear?" He did it 1,000 times, but at least when I'm close to home, I panic less. But he did it today. He was gonna cross the street and a car was driving by. That kid is gonna, yeah,
Are you a leash person? Are you a fan of kid leashes?
not at all. I think it's not weird, but he's 5 years old now. Maybe when he was smaller,
I feel like if I was at like Disney or something with a kid, I'd probably put him on a leash just because I didn't want to be
probably,
paranoid about watching them all the time.
yeah.
Because I'd be the type of ADD parent that'd be like, wait, what? Where'd they go? Like, I'd
Mhm.
rather them just be like,
Especially like
attached.
he tends to run away for no reason. He saw something, he has to go. And I would really enjoy you not being kidnapped or die hitting by a car or whatever. Hit by a car. Anyway, I'm tired. My English is really tired today. So yeah, Liam was fine. He's still fine. He's sleeping right now. But yeah, on the second night, oh right, we slept in Illinois on that night because we met some of my ex's friend, and we went to Steak and Shake. That's the place, right? Steak and Shake. Okay. And did I have a story about that? I don't think so. Yeah, we were in Peoria, the Walmart in Peoria. So 2 years ago, a crazy lady running after a toddler in a Walmart. That was me.
Trying
So
to think
yeah,
of why that sounds familiar. Peoria sounds familiar for some reason.
it's
Not
close
sure
to
why.
Bloomington, I think. No, I think we were in Bloomington. I don't know. I just remember, I don't know, the name Peoria stuck with me because it's interesting to pronounce as a French speaker.
You pronounce it well.
But
I just really want to. I just really want to call it Missouri now all the time. Like I went to school in Missouri. Like I went to school for 2 years in Missouri, and I freaking love it.
I'm
It's my
never
new
gonna
favorite.
be able to say it again because right now I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce it anymore.
Say it again.
You go like, okay, so it's misery or misery. What's the difference? There's no difference.
Wait, what did you say? What?
I can't remember which one is which now. It's like dessert and dessert. Desert.
Dessert and desert.
Yes. I don't know which one is
Missouri, Missouri. Ms. So one is Missouri and one is Missouri. And it's more of a Z.
I don't see the difference.
Missouri. There's one more of a Z, I think, in Missouri. Missouri.
Okay, after this,
Missouri.
I'm gonna call Sean and I'm gonna be like, name me the state that's above Kansas. Yeah, it's above. I think it's above.
Missouri. 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 Missouri.
I can't pronounce it.
It's something with the pronunciation. I never realized how close those two words are together. Like now thinking about it, I didn't ever think about how hard that would be for a non-native speaker to say Missouri. Missouri. Missouri and Missouri. It's more of a little bit more of an or, I think, in Missouri. Missouri.
And it's interesting because in French, when you have two S's, it doesn't do the Z sound, the Z sound. So in French, I would pronounce it Missouri.
Maybe that's partly where it is because I think it does make more of a Z. Missouri. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to my French.
That's my favorite word ever now. That's gonna be my, can we just name this the day I drove through Missouri?
Yeah. I need to remember. You need to remind me. But yeah, we finally got to Kansas and it was really fun because Lawrence is a really family and young people oriented, and there were all these places to, all these nice restaurants and bars. And obviously I didn't go to a bar with my kids, but there was one place like on the I think we got there on Friday morning or Friday before lunch, I think, or after lunch, whatever, doesn't matter. And or on the Thursday. No, we got there on the Thursday. So on the Friday, I didn't know what to do with the kids. Are you okay?
Yeah, I got distracted by Buster. Sorry.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out what he was doing. He looked like he was in pain as he was.
I love how I
Just like-
always assume that you've seen a ghost. Like, like my heart skipped a beat because you were like,
he got up with such intensity and confusion as he like went to go find somewhere else to sleep.
"Oh,
Sorry. And then I forgot we were talking for
squirrel." Okay, so in Lawrence, there's the jungle gym for kids, the Laugh Out Loud. It's really big, and honestly, we spent the whole afternoon there. Like, um, Joe went probably home with his friends. Well, at his friend's home, and then I stayed at the Laugh Out Loud, and yeah, Sean met me there, and we were like, I wish we could go play. I don't want to sit here, I want to go play. Like there's like this, you know, the exercise balls, like the big balloons that you can sit on, but make it like the size of a room, and it's like half of it. I just wanted to go jump on it, but you know, I weigh like 200 pounds, so I was scared of having it explode, like with all the kids on it.
Is it almost like a trampoline? Like a
Yeah, kind of, but it really looked like the same material as the exercise ball, but just again, the size of a room. And there's a big jungle gym where the kids can climb, and there's all these little rooms. Like there was a room where they could play dress up and sing on a stage, and there was one with crafts, and it was honestly, I thought about moving to into the Laugh Out Loud. Like, I want to live there. What did we do? We drank a lot. Um, a lot, because Sean's parents, because okay, at first I had planned to drive also to Oklahoma to go visit Sean's parents, and we were just too tired, and it was way too long for the kids, so we didn't go. So I was kind of disappointed of not seeing them, but they ended up coming to see us. So we went to another brewery. I bought a cap, I still have it to this day, and it's just such a nice place. Like, I want to move there. I would like to move there if I didn't have kids. In case my ex sees this, I don't actually want to move there. I just really love Lawrence. It's a really nice place. And then when we drove back home, I think we left on Monday morning. We we didn't stop for the night. Like, we just drove through. We drove back home. So Joe and I were switching. Like, he was driving and then I was driving. And when he was too tired, like, we switched like that. And yeah, we drove for 26 hours. Like, of course we stopped for, you know, food or just stretching or whatever, but yeah, it took us 26 hours to drive back home. Yeah,
with the two little ones.
Yep. But they slept through the night, and we had bought, you know, the neck pillows, so it's not like they were sleeping like this or whatever. And but yeah,
that's what I did as a kid.
That was a fun road trip. Like, I would do it again, but without the kids. Like I told Sean, at least one time we would have to drive down to Oklahoma from here to visit your parents, because I really like going on a road trip, but for kids it's boring. Like, we had to keep them entertained, because like we were listening to podcasts, or Joe and I really didn't have the same taste in music, so when I was tired of listening to rap or whatever else, he would put on his headphones and I would listen to anything that screams to keep me awake, because yeah, I didn't like it when when I was with Joe, I never liked it when he drove, because he's an aggressive driver, I would say. So yeah, I drove almost all the way. Yeah, but it was a fun road trip, other than, you know, we were really exhausted, and I'm sorry, but Illinois was so boring. Like, the most boring place I've ever driven through. Like, I'm sure it's really beautiful, but just like the highway crosses cornfields or whatever else. I don't know. I feel like it was corn. But yeah.
That's crazy.
But you
That's
go
how
on
I
lots
guess
of
my
road trips,
parents
right?
felt. Yeah. Well, now I'm thinking about how my parents felt with having, well, my little brother's 5 years younger than me, but like starting when we were little, like me and the three oldest ones, like my parents went on road trips with us. Like, I don't know what grade I was in. I was in like 5th or 6th grade, and we drove like all the way to California and back, and like we didn't stop. So we had like
From where?
From Kansas to California. So we drove all the way to San Diego.
Wow. That must
And
have
I don't
been
think we stayed in a hotel. And that was like about 24 hours with 4 kids in the car. And but one thing that my parents did with us is like before a trip we would get like we each got like a brand new chapter book. I think we all did. I was so excited about this new book because I was like, I'm gonna go dive into my new book in the car. And I love reading. And so that was like big for me. But then like my parents also got like little things. And so like 2 hours, 5 hours into the trip, we all got new coloring books, or I got a new coloring book and my brother got like this new CD, or we would get like, everyone would get something new halfway through the trip. And so like I got they get like a new book or a new CD or a new coloring book.
That's
or a new like
amazing idea.
Or a new Game Boy game, but they would like give it to you like after you'd already done half the trip or something, or it's 5 hours in and they had some surprise. So like I was thinking that with your Dollar Tree, like instead of like giving all of the stuff at once, it's like, ooh, here's this new toy. Now play with this for 2 hours. And like, oh, here's another one. Like kind of like it was kind of a little reward halfway through the trip and stuff. And so they also had a lot of, we didn't have rules in the car, but it was like no video, like they turned off the video games and the TV and we all had to read quietly for like an hour. And so they were like, everyone
read in a car.
I read really well in the car. Like I love it.
Just like thinking about it makes me nauseous.
Really? Like I can curl up in the car. My brother, I think, would get kind of car sick. And so usually he would just sleep or listen to music during that time. I would just read the whole time. But they would make us put away like the Game Boys and stuff. And they were like, read your books. And then like
me. Like I was a quiet child, so it was okay. But if let's say I would, because my parents had a cabin in the wood with, it would take like 6 hours to drive there. And I don't know how many times I had to open the window and throw up while my mom was driving. Like just turning my head to talk to my sisters, I would get car sick. Like when I was working at the office, every night when I was in the public transportation, I would take the bus from downtown to the bus station, and I would have to take anti-nausea medication every night before leaving work because I get nauseous in the bus. And then I get like, when you're sweaty but you're also cold. Yeah.
Did watching the lines help at all? I know that was something that we were always told to do.
I have to watch outside.
You like watch, and we always like would watch the lines, like the white lines on the side.
I think I can't focus on anything. I just have to look like away. I can't.
That'd be hard.
Yeah.
So is that another reason you like being the driver?
Yeah.
As the driver, you don't feel as.
But every time I went to see Sean, I think I drove one time because I don't know, he just asked me to drive from the place where we're to his parents, but he's always been driving. But I don't think I got car sick, or I just take medication because I'm so used to doing it that I don't notice. Because the first time our first date, we left from Kansas City and we went to see his parents in Oklahoma. So it's like 6 hours, I think. And I don't think I got sick. So maybe when I'm driving or when I'm in the passenger seat, I'm okay.
It's not as bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's worse in the summer than the winter.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like super lucky. My brother had the car sickness, but really like besides him, like none of us ever really got sick. So my parents were pretty lucky with 4 kids that didn't. And that, because that was hard. If one kid pukes, then the rest of us are going to lose it.
Yeah, my sisters are just the strongest person in the world. Or my parents, they never got sick. But I was always like, Mom, open the window. Blah.
You must have been so miserable.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So my office is in Montreal, but the head office is in Waterloo in Ontario. And before COVID, we used to go like once, twice, or three times, no more, maybe twice a year. And we have to take a shuttle from the Toronto airport to Waterloo because it's about an hour away. And I tried all the places, all the seats in the shuttle, and I found out the one that I don't feel too sick in. Because I remember one time I was with my friend and we sat at the back because she's like, "Oh, at the back you should be fine." Oh my God, I
Isn't the
could
back
not
like the
wait to get.
worst?
Oh, it was the worst time ever.
It
Like I
hits
have
all
to
the
sit.
bumps and everything too.
Yep, yep. But the last time I went, I asked the permission to rent a car because I'm like this. Because I'm sorry, just thinking about it makes me nauseous and I can't stop burping. I'm so sorry, but um, it's like an hour if you don't stop. But when you have a shuttle, the driver has to pick up other people or drop them off before you. So it was just never ending. And sometimes you get caught in traffic, and I'm just like, I'm dying. So, like, the first thing that I do every time I get into the shuttle is grab the throw up bag, like the bag you can throw up in, and yeah, so last time I went, we rented a car because I was like, I am not taking the shuttle. Please don't make me take the shuttle. Like, it's painful every time. Yeah.
Oh god.
So just one
Yeah.
anti-nausea medication and you should be fine. You should. It's not always working. True story.
So I think the only time I've ever felt really car sick is in the mountains with the altitude. That was altitude though. But like
That was what?
on the altitude.
Altitude. I
Like
heard outs too, and I was like, what is an outs too?
No, but on the school field trips with the summer camp, I'd sometimes get stuck in the back of the bus and we would go down some roads that were like that made me a bit nauseous, like in the back of the school bus, and it was like bumpy and no, I couldn't do it. I would get like a headache and stuff. And so
When I was
yeah.
in seventh grade, sorry, I had to convert in my head. When I was in seventh grade, I was in the theater group at my school, and we went to Paris. And
Oh yeah.
did I tell the
Paris
story
trip.
in the?
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
It was like you said it was like your worst trip ever.
yeah. My mom is still trying to convince me to like it and go back. But I might go back someday, but I'm still not mentally ready. And anyway, we're in a Patricia right now. But so yeah, I was 12 years old, and it was the first time ever that I was so far away from my parents. Because, like, yes, I went to camp when I was a kid, but it was like an hour away from my home, maybe an hour and a half away. Not, I don't know how many hours away. Anyway, so we went to France, and uh, in every picture where we are in a bus, I am sleeping. But it's because my mom gave me the wrong anti-nausea medication. She gave me the sleepy one. So I remember, like, one of the volunteer teachers had a wall of pictures of like I he was the Joker teacher. He was not inappropriate or anything. He was the best teacher in the entire world. And unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago. Best teacher in the entire world. One of the best teachers in the entire world. And he had made a wall of pictures of me sleeping in the bus in the trip in Paris. Because
That's amazing.
yeah, there were so many pictures, and he even took one where he's pretending to sleep next to me, but he was like, with his mouth open and a bit of drool. But yeah, I didn't. I'm so sorry, French people. Um, hear this, but I didn't like going to Paris. But again, it was a school trip, so
So what was the food you said you would never eat again?
Yep, it was baguette.
No more.
Yeah, like now I can eat it sometimes, but our meal for the how long? I think we were there for 10 days. Every single meal was something with baguette. It was like morning, your toast would be baguette. Lunch, it would be a sandwich on baguette bread. Dinner would be something with a baguette, like all the time for 10 days straight. And my mom said when she picked me up from the airport, she could tell who was in my group because the first thing she would hear was, I can't eat baguette ever again. Like, don't make me. And yeah, it was not a fun trip. And we were supposed to, like, of course, we went to the Arc de Triomphe, to the Eiffel Tower, to the Tomb of Napoleon. Like, that was cool. But the one place I wanted to see, the Mont Saint Michel, it looks like a medieval city. Um, I don't know. Our teachers decided we couldn't go. So, like, the one thing I was looking forward to, we couldn't go. We couldn't go to the Louvre either. I don't know why. I don't know if it was not included in our package or whatever. So, but we walked by it. So I saw the tower. Not the tower. I meant the triangle. In my brain, I said the
Mm-hmm.
triangle. But I was disappointed to not see it. So I might go back because, of course, I have to go there and
Can
just
we go
to.
with, do you speak the same type of French as they speak there? Like, would you be able to,
One
is it the
thing that I
same?
hate, I don't want to say about French people, but like, because my first language is French and I have an accent from Montreal. And a lot of French people are making fun of us for speaking like trash French, I guess. So like I will understand them like perfectly fine and they'll be like, "What are you saying? What are you saying?" Okay, come on, just force yourself a little. Like don't make me over pronounce the words. Like for instance, my perfect example. We were staying with a family for 2 days, I think. Like we were in groups of 2 and we were in a community, like in groups of 2 we were sleeping in a family. So the all the families the next morning made a like brunch thing and there were chips on the table. And being a teenager, like a tween, you want chips for breakfast. I'm an adult and I still want chips for breakfast. So I asked the person, "Can you give me the bowl of chips?" And and I say chips, and they look at me like, "Excuse me?" So I'm like, "Oh shit, I should have used the French word." So I say crousty, which is a French word. They're like, "The what?" And I'm like, "The potatoes, the salty potato. I don't know how to say it. Oh, the sheeps. Okay, you don't tell me you didn't get chips. Like, are you kidding me?" Or in French, so chocolate croissant. I don't know how to say that in English. It's a croissant with chocolate in it. We call it in Quebec a chocolatine. And if you go to Paris, they call it chocolate bread. They call it pain au chocolat. They call it chocolate bread. So if you go and say chocolatine, they will be like, "What? Just think about it. I said chocolat. What has chocolate in it on your, you know, what you're offering right now?" So, um,
Is that how you pronounce the name of the movie? That
which one?
movie, the chocolate movie? Have you seen the movie?
What movie?
It's called like, it's spelled like the French way, I think, of chocolate. It's the,
Chocolat?
I think so. I don't know. Have you heard of that movie? We watched it the same day at my sleepover thing in college as we watched The Princess and the Frog.
I don't
But it
think I
was,
know.
this is all coming for a full circle. It's like the lady and her daughter like own this like bakery and they come into this small town that's very like rigid, and then they're like little like gypsies, and they like, and she has like, her chocolate kind of has this little magical power in it, and so it kind of starts like shaking up the town. But it's called like chocolat. I don't know. It's,
Chocolat.
I'll have
Don't
to show
pronounce the
you.
T. Yeah,
How do you say it?
chocolat. So in
Chocolat.
French, we have a
So French,
tendency
you
to
don't like
not,
teas.
we don't pronounce the last letter, I think.
Chocolat.
Sean made me realize that.
Chocolat.
Chocolat. Yeah.
I'll show you what the title of the movie looks like, and you can tell me if that's, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if it's French. I'm not really sure. Anyways, sorry.
Maybe
Continue.
It's not French. No, I think I'm done. Like, again, I don't hate French people. I just hate the French people that I met there on this particular trip when I was 12 years old. Like, I have French friends. Oh my God, that was hard to say. Who live in Montreal. Like, I have nothing against them, and they're great. Like, they're friends. And it's just that there were so many people over there making fun of our accents, and it's like, come on, just make an effort. You understand what I'm saying. I know you understand what I'm saying.
Is the guy in Talladega Nights French? Isn't he French? Have you seen Talladega Nights?
I have, but I don't know which guy you're talking about.
The gay guy, isn't he French?
Oh my God, I don't know. We have I should have a notepad of things we need to Google at the end of the episodes.
We're gonna have to do like our own little like
Yeah,
fact check corner thing.
But yeah, someday I might go back to Paris, maybe for the history. I love history. But yeah, as a 12 years old, I did not enjoy it. Okay, I'm sorry, my cat is adorable. Look at her. And my couch is a mess because I have the kids this week. But she's adorable.
She's so cute.
Yeah. So before we finish, I wanted to know if you have tips for road trips.
My big tip with the kids is the one about spreading things out, like toys and surprises.
That's brilliant.
We survived on video games. I could do a whole episode on how we survived as a kid on road trips, which I might have to do that one of these times for my YouTube channel too. We might have to do one, or you and I can tell you all of my childhood stories of how we survived road trips with 4 kids. I don't know how my parents survived it. I don't know how us kids survived it. But
that's another thing. And we didn't have technology back then. Like, I don't know how my parents managed to raise us without a tablet or a trampoline.
See, we you know those black box TVs that had the VCR in it? Mm-hmm. Did you ever have those? The box TV with the VCR?
Yeah. I think my mom still has one.
Yeah, we had one of those, right? And we put it, we had a big Suburban, and we folded down the front, in the front, in between the driver and the middle and the passenger, there was a middle seat, and that seat would fold down in the Suburban. And so we would put the TV on top of that, and then they used straps, and they would strap it in, and they would wedge it between the 2 chairs. And so if we hit a sudden stop or something, I remember my dad would always like kind of like grab at the TV because it would either fall forward or fall backward. Into I wonder how many fuses I don't even know how many fuses we probably burned out, but we used a cigarette lighter adapter. Oh, really? And then we would plug the TV into the cigarette lighter adapter. And so we would put the TV there, and then we watched, Sister Act, Pure Luck, What About Bob? We had like 10 movies that we watched on like every road trip. There were some like classics that we watched every time. And my dad had certain movies like memorized that he has never seen before, but he could probably quote the whole movie because he'd heard it like 10 times as the driver, but he had never seen it before, but he would always hear it playing. And then we had like a Xbox. No, we didn't have an Xbox. We had a Dreamcast, the Dreamcast game system. And we plugged that into the TV. And then the 4 of us kids would play Dreamcast in the car together. And a lot of times we'd have to play.
So car sick just thinking about it.
We would play like 4-player games, otherwise we'd kind of get in trouble. Sometimes my brothers would get away with playing like 2-player games on some of it, but yeah, so my parents got kind of creative with the whole like, let's bring the TV and the Dreamcast and put it in our car before the cars we never had a car with built-in TVs before. We just brought our own TV. Mm-hmm. And so that would be one of the things too. It'd be like, okay, you guys we put the video games away now, like take a nap, or like we can watch one movie and then take a little break. And they would kind of like break it up so we weren't watching a movie for 24 hours straight.
Yeah.
And so we watched one movie called What About Bob? I don't know if you've ever seen that one. You have to see What About Bob. I need to find out where it's available to watch. It's so good. God, it's the best movie. It has Richard Dreyfuss and Bill Murray in it, and some other really cool people. I'm trying to think of who the other lady is. anyways, that's another one I'm going to write down that I'm going to remind you to watch. But there was, we'd watch this movie every year, twice a year, 3 times a year, my whole childhood, right? I've seen this movie so many times, but there's a scene where Bill Murray acts like he has, or think he's a hypochondriac, and everything, his theme is, if I fake it, then I don't have it. And so he'll be like, fake that he has Tourette's, or fake that he's having a heart attack, because then he knows if he's faking it, then he doesn't have it and he's fine. And so that's his like rationale. He's like, if I fake it, then I don't have it. So there's a scene where he's explaining to his therapist's son what Tourette's is. And so they start faking that they have Tourette's, and they start like cussing at each other. So my mom would always like fast forward and mute that part, and we would always fast forward that mutancy. But then when I was in high school, we got to watch it in our psych class, because it's kind of a psychological movie. And so we watched in our psych class, and my brother and I both told the teacher, we were like, we have this whole movie memorized, but we have never seen this scene before. We never knew what they were saying in the scene. Like, for the first time in our life, we could quote the whole movie except for that clip we had never seen before. And so we were like, oh, that's what they've been saying all these years. Because my mom would hurry and like mute, and my mom had the movie memorized, and she would know when to like fast forward it and mute it for us. And so then we would like, but yeah, when we were in high school, we finally got to watch this clip and see like what happened in this scene, because like our teacher didn't mute it, and like we were like, oh that's what happened. But yeah, I mean, we kind of just, I don't know, like it was fun. We mostly got along. Sometimes if you got bored in the car, you would we drove through Arizona in the Grand Canyon, and we melted our crayons into the floor of the car. That was when we were in Vegas. We had crayons that fell out of the box, and they completely melted into the car. I'm sure my parents
literally melted.
The crayons melted because it was like 110 degrees outside, and then we were there in the summer. We went to Vegas, and so the crayons melted, and then they melted into the floor of the car, into the carpet. And but we would play as we were driving through the desert, we were trying to entertain ourselves, so we would play the game and see who could keep their hand on the window the longest. And so, you know, it's like
the window is hot.
It was like 100 degrees outside. And so we're driving through these areas where like there's, you know, they told you to like stock up on water and stuff, because there's really not any, like, it's not safe to get stuck in any of those areas. But yeah, we would play the game. You see who could keep your hand on the window the longest. We'd do that when it's cold out too. If we were driving through somewhere in the winter, and who could freeze off their hand, or who could burn their hand the longest, I guess.
That's like, one way to entertain yourself.
I don't know, the 4 of us, and I don't know, we just kind of entertained ourselves. But those are childhood ways to entertain yourself. Or you have raindrop races. You had raindrop races, right?
Yeah.
When it would rain. When it would rain when you're driving. So of course you had the raindrop races, but
I even do that when I'm on the bus. When I used to go,
just watch it.
I would just like, oh.
Who's gonna win? Get him. Yeah, I don't know. Those are kind of now I listen to podcasts when we drive. Podcasts keep me awake more. Sometimes I have to change up the podcast that I have to listen to. And sometimes I bust out just music from my childhood, and I like just start singing childhood music.
Oh, that reminds me, I have a fun story.
Yes.
So when my parents used to take us to the Cabin in the Wood, it was when, you know, the album from Aqua that has Barbie Girl on it. So my poor parents, we listened to it a lot. And I remember vividly, and my sisters remember it too. But the second song started, and my mom hit the damn brakes. Like we were driving in the forest, and she hit the brake like we almost died. And my mom's like, I heard a horse. Yes, it wasn't the song. The first song starts with horses running or whatever. But she thought there was an animal like going to cross in front of her. And yeah, we almost died from a car accident because she braked because there was no horse. But yeah, like my sisters and I were still like, oh, do you remember that time when we used to listen to Aqua? Yeah, Mom almost killed us. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We listen to Larry Groshi, and it has Disney on the front. I don't know if it's a Disney CD, but it was Disney tunes, and it's called Larry Groshi. It's on Spotify. I'll send you a link to my Spotify album. But there's a Western, sailor's Sailor's Medley. It has like Thumbelina and it has like Carrot Stew. I don't know if you've heard Carrot Stew, Carrot Stew. It's our favorite thing. I don't know if you've heard that song. I don't think it's a popular song, but I don't know. Anytime someone says something about stew, I start singing Carrot Stew. But then there's a Sailor's Medley song on it. And it was the middle verse of it is like the what do you do with the drunken sailor part? And it's like, what do you do with the drunken sailor? And then it's like, put him in the longboat till he's sober, put him in the longboat till he's sober. And it's in the middle of this children's album. And then there's this song. This is a children's sing-along album thing. And then there's this random Sailor's Medley with the drunken sailor song where what do you do with the drunken sailor? And so us kids are busting out, what do you do with the drunken sailor? And then put him in a longboat till he's sober. I don't think we even knew what drunk meant.
At the same time, kids' songs are sometimes really creepy, like the one that says ashes, ashes.
Oh yeah,
fall down or whatever. It's about something burning and turn into ashes.
Well, isn't it about the ring around the rosy, a pocket full of posy? Because the cheeks would turn red. It was because of the like scarlet fever or something. And their cheeks would get rosy red. And then they put posy in their pocket to like ward off the spirits, I think. And then ashes, ashes, we all fall down because they all were dying.
My kids used to sing it all the time because they don't know any French nursery rhymes. I think I'm not even sure I remember French because they went to English daycare. What's
the Rockabye Baby Until the Cradle Will Fall? And then all the songs are freaking.
Yeah, so the one about the drunken sailor, I'm not really surprised.
It's like whatever. I'll just send you that link to that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have so many. Oh God, this makes me want to do just like a whole video on like childhood memories on road trips.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, they're the best.
Yeah, I only have one tip about road trips: have a car inspection first.
Good point.
Yeah, because
we never do that. We always take rental cars.
It didn't nothing bad happened. Like we didn't even have to change the tires. But I was so scared to be stuck, like in the middle of the
misery.
I'm not gonna say it. You're not gonna make me say it. But I didn't want to be stuck in the Midwest, like not knowing what broke. So before I left, like a few days before I took my car to my mechanic or garage, or I don't know how you guys phrase this, and I had it fully inspected and like everything was going fine. So that's my best tip about road trips, especially if you're gonna drive for 3 days straight.
Yeah, should probably do that.
Yeah, and with kids.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my best tip: have your car inspected.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And
we just take rental cars usually. But
oh, really?
We rent cars everywhere we go usually.
Well, we have to cross the border, so I don't know if it's a possibility.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work if you had a rental car.
And also, my kids are messy. Like to this day, because I still have the car, there are still crayons marked on my car ceiling. Because how am I going to take it off? And I don't really care. Like, that you don't want to have this happen in a rental car.
Well, what you were saying about the car inspection, when my parents bought our Suburban, and it was like, I don't think it was I don't know. I think it was like gently used or something. I'm not really sure. It was brand new to us, but I don't think it was a brand new Suburban. Our family wouldn't have bought it brand new. But we got our new Suburban and they just bought it from the dealership. We drove to California and we were on our way back. And in the middle of the night in Grand Junction, Colorado, it broke down on the side of the highway. And apparently like a fan blade broke or something. There was like something messed up in the hood of the car and like they had to tow it. And like they randomly remembered that we were in Grand Junction, Colorado, and my brother had a classmate that had just moved to Grand Junction. So my parents like found his number in like the phone book or something. They looked up his last name and they called him and we went and like stayed at their house for the day. And they were like, hey, we're going to be like going to see family in Kansas. We'll just move our trip up a week. And they like, we all road trip back to Kansas in their big van, and their van didn't have enough, like, I don't know if their van didn't have enough seats or what, but we all just kind of hung out in the back and like crawled around on the floor and stuff and had the curtains down. Like, I don't think any of us were in seat. I'm shocked my parents were okay with that. I don't think we wore seatbelts and stuff. I think we were all, it was in like kind of like a camper van type of thing, but without it being a camper van. It was one of those big vans with like the curtains and stuff.
Mhm.
And so we rode home with them. And then my dad, and then like the car dealership drove out later and got our car from Grand Junction and brought it back because they had to like pay for everything. Like it was completely on them and it was under warranty and everything. But yeah, make sure your car is.
Yeah.
Because my parents had 4 kids. We were all like under
What are
8th
you gonna
grade.
do with them?
Yeah, there were 4 of us below 8th grade, which is young. So I mean, we were all under 12 years old. And so, yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, rental car inspection. I feel like we could talk about travel. I could talk about travel, which is why I don't know why I doubt myself on my travel blog. I have so much to say. I just gotta do it.
Yeah. I have to write too. Like, I haven't posted a blog since February. Yeah.
I posted a shit one this weekend. I'm posting my holiday. Well, you read I don't know if you read my one about the haunted hotel in Arkansas that we stayed at, which I posted about for my dad. But like, so like 2 weeks ago, but that was like it was about our Christmas like 2 years ago. And then I posted part 2 of it. And I'm like, why am I posting this like Christmas story from 2 years ago? But it's more like for me. It's more for me, but it has the part in there about how James and I went on an 18-hour detour. I think I told you that. An 18-hour side trip detour.
Oh, just a small detour.
Just a little detour.
Yeah, tiny one.
I'll have to save that story for when we haven't already talked for an hour and a half.
Yeah, we have been talking for a long time, but I can't see the duration right now.
We might have to split this one.
Yeah, and I have to go to bed because it's very late. So, you guys, if you have any questions or suggestion or ideas of stuff we should talk about, we have our Instagram page at
Guidebook Not Included.
Thank you. And we also have an email address. Say it, please.
It's Kate? Is it Kate and Val at Guidebook Not? No, Guidebook Not. I don't remember.
Yes, it's Guidebook Not Included at gmail.com.
Oh, at gmail.com. Duh. God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you just wanted me to say.
I did. Just wanted to say.
And yeah, I hope.
Let us know what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And what you think.
Like, follow, subscribe, whatever, everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Yeah, all of the above. All right. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening.
Do I stop? Okay, there. Whew, had a little panic moment.